Okay, so as I've got the rear quarter panel in and I'm happy with it, it's welded in. I was going to put this job off, that I didn't really want to have to do until later, but I think it's going to make such a big difference to the integrity of the car. So I'm going to have a go at cutting and removing the rear drain channel and popping in a new one. Great stuff. I'd like to kind of scarf the joints if I can, which basically just means cutting at an angle so that I've got more of a attachment to the edge of the car, really, so it makes the joint stronger. I'm gonna have a go at that. I'm just taking out this boot seal at the moment. Hopefully you can see that. I don't want to rip it, I'd like to reuse it, but there's some sort of sealing compound on the bottom of it, so all I'm really doing is just popping a screwdriver in and lifting it up and going behind it just gently. It'll be exciting when it gets to this corner here and to there, that top corner. So that's going to keep me quiet for a little bit. So I'll come back to you. I'm going to cut this diagonally there, and I'm going to cut that diagonally there, and here's the panel. Okay, so that sits in there like that. If you notice how much longer this is, okay, it actually gives me more of a chance to fit it and get it in correctly. In other words, if I make a mistake, which I don't want to do, but it looks kind of difficult, if I make a mistake, at least I've got something where I can maybe move it back down a bit or move it back up a bit. So I've got a bit of wiggle room. So that will help me with the fitting, I'm sure. So I'll come back to you when I've got this boot drain rubber removed, and hopefully we'll move on from there. So I shall catch up with you in a bit. Okay, I had hope at the start of this, but I'm losing it quickly. The boot rubber, the sealing rubber here, which the boot closes on, the trunk, okay, was quite easy to remove here. Okay. But as we turn the corner going up here, as you can see, the actual frame itself, the metalwork there, has gone, and trying to remove the rubber from here, you can see there, is proving much harder actually. I'm really trying hard to try and get it out without damaging it. It'd be really easy just to sort of go in and gouge it and rip it right out, but I did want to see if I could save it, and I will try. It's just more and more time. Obviously it'd be so much nicer to go straight in, cut it and rip the whole thing straight out, but I know what the availability of this is, and it's bound to be expensive, so I'm just going to try and dig it out, and if I can save it, I'd like to. If I can't, well, okay, I'll put that down to experience. But you can see there now that this drain kaput. Okay, I'll come back to you hopefully with some good news that I've managed to get the rubber out. Okay, so I'll come back to you in a sec. Well, there it is. I did manage to get it out. Taking it out to just at the top of the trunk there. So yeah, you can see it's really nasty, and it's definitely got to be replaced. I've not seen anyone done this on YouTube, so I'm guessing that the job's a bad one, and I can imagine that it would be, but hey ho, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So I'm gonna have a go. All right, if I mess it up, well, you know, I'll have to try and recover it somewhere or other, but it looks to be quite a difficult job, but let's just see. So the first thing I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to, the car's resting on its rear mount, so if I push it down you can see it move, so I'm actually going to bolt it back down as it should be. Then I'm going to clamp the inner fender to the original drain channel here, and I'm going to put some marks and put a little pilot drill through each one. So it'll just give me a rough idea of where the holes should be, with a little, you know, just a tiny little, maybe a 3mm drill through there, so that obviously when I put the new drain channel on, I've got no marks to follow. I won't have anything at all as to where the original bolts go through, actually mushroom screws that go through here and hold the inner fender, sorry, that hold the rear wing on. Okay, so I'm going to have a go at that. Just having a look at that there. That's nice. So I'll come back to you as soon as I've got this out, and we're going to have a look and watch me struggle. So I'll come back to you a little bit later on. The things that I forgot to order, I thought I'd ordered it but I didn't, was a body mount kit. And I managed to get this one actually. This one came actually from a lead from Jim. Thank you very much, Jim, for putting that, telling me about it. It's TR Shop in London. I actually got it in 2 days, which is really good, especially over the Christmas period, so I was actually really impressed. And not only that, but the price was significantly cheaper than Rimmer Brothers and Moss, so I'm quite happy about that. Thank you very much indeed, Jim, and thanks for subscribing and thanks for looking at the channel. So I'll come back to you once I've got this rear wing bolted back down. Okay, so the holes are drilled, and now it's time to do some marking out and cut out this drain channel. So yeah, see how we get on. Okay, so we're ready for the rear drain channel, or are we? Just as luck would have it, I thought I'd have another quick look and examine these first. And just looking at the channel here, that's right, okay, but this looks awfully wide to me, the width here, when you consider what it looks like there. Okay. So this area here is too wide. So when they've made them, I'm going to try and slip it in so you can actually see. It should have just about enough room to get it underneath. Hang on, I'm going to try and show you what happens. Okay, so that's roughly right. You can see the metal there is against the side edge of the original, but if you look across here, you'll notice that the drain, the actual where the rubber sits, okay, is pushed much further out. It's because the actual channel itself, this bit, has been made too wide, so there's a problem there. So now I've got to try and recover and work out what I've got to do to try and repair this. But it's going to be interesting, so I'm glad I didn't cut it first. Okay, so I'll come back to you after I've had a think. And I was just looking at the panels that I bought, and I was just thinking, if I was to drill these spot welds out, okay, that's going to release this part of the channel, which is just spot welded in there like that. Okay, so with this out, what I could do, what I'm thinking of doing, is using, this is the same width I think as the outside edge, okay, is this. So one thing I'm doing is drilling this out, take all the spot welds out, lifting this and then slipping this on the inside so that, okay, this part here sits in there, and I think that might do it. We may have to cut the edge of this along there so that we get the right size. But that's about one of the only things I can think of doing. It's a shame I've got to do that, okay, but needs must. So that's plan C. So I might actually proceed with plan C because I can actually see where the spot welds are, and I think it's going to work. If I ruin it, well, I'll come back to you and say no, that one didn't work either, so we'll have to think of something else. But there we are, that's where we are at the moment. So I'll come back to you when I've got these spot welds drilled out, and hopefully should be able to see exactly what's going on. Okay, well, I've got the spot welds drilled out, which took longer than I thought because they'd actually been put on really well, and so they've come out eventually, not as neat as I wanted, but you can see this is the other side, so you can see where I've removed this panel, this sheet. Okay, so that's that lip there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to have a go at making this section, which this bit here, which I'm going to fit in there like that. So wish me luck, and I'll come back to you when I've got it cut out and we can have a look. Then I've got to try and fold it and get it into place. So I've got nothing to lose, so I might as well have a go at it. Okay, come back to you in a bit. Okay, so what we've done is we've cut out another strip of metal and folded it as best we can. As you can see, I've also drilled some holes in to weld it up so I can plug it. It's 10mm the gap, so I didn't have any studying or anything like that, so what I did was I used a couple of 10mm drill ends and just popped them in there to keep the spacing right. a couple of clamps at either end. Hopefully I've got my fingers crossed that this is going to work. So yeah, I'm probably going to compress this down a little bit because it's a little bit high as well, so I'll put a clamp on it the other way, and I'll get some tacks in there and we'll have a look and see how that goes. Probably take about an hour or so to make this, but a bit of faffing about with it, but hopefully that will be okay. And I'll come back to you a little bit later on so we can see what it's like when I've stitched it together with a bit of weld. Okay, come back to you in a bit. Okay, so I've got a few welds in there, a couple of little spot welds in there. That should be okay. And I'm going to take it apart now and have a look and just see if it's going to work. I'll come back and show you. Fingers crossed, huh? Okay, well, we're back with the car and we've got the welds in. And it doesn't look too bad. If you can see there, that fold is roughly where that corner is. Okay, and that is roughly, there we go, there, roughly in the right place. Roughly is good. Roughly is not bad. So yeah, I'm happy about that. So tomorrow, as it's getting really cold now, I don't know what the temperature is, probably about 3 or 4 degrees, but I'm going to cut and hopefully have a go at getting this fixed into place. Don't know if you can see that there, so if I come in really close. Yeah, okay, I'm pretty pleased with that, considering that it was that or nothing really. Obviously I've got these holes to fill in here, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. The rubber's obviously going to be sitting tight in there. I'll plug them up, and what I'll do is, with the rubber sitting in there, no water's going to seep through there anyway and come back out, so that'll be okay. I'm going to sort this area out here as well. That's nasty. Okay, so pleased with that. Come back to you probably tomorrow now. Time to go and get a nice cup of tea, I think. Chill out and relax for a bit. See you tomorrow.